The 86th Texas legislative session is underway down in Austin, Texas. So what do we expect this session to look like? Hey, everybody, I'm Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. The 86th Texas legislative session got underway at noon down in Austin, and as expected, Representative now Speaker Dennis Bonnen was elected Speaker of the Texas House. That was widely expected, of course. He had no challenger at all. State Representative Dustin Burrows from up here in the Lubbock area, of course, gave one of the nominating speeches for Dennis Bonnen, which is actually a pretty big honor, and says something a lot about how I think Bonnen views Dustin Burrows and Burrows' leadership moving forward. There have been some in Lubbock who have wanted to criticize Dustin Burrows in the past and say that he's not a real leader for whatever reason. That's been hogwash. It's been a bunch of BS, and now we see that is indeed the case. So this new legislative session that got underway, it's a kumbaya moment. Everybody's hugging today, shaking hands, saying that it's going to be a great session. I still think we're going to see a very rough session for lawmakers down in Austin. There was something that has been brought up numerous times leading up to the session is that it's going to be a meat and potatoes session, that it's going to be a lot of hard work. It's going to be something where property taxes are talked about, maybe a reduction in taxes at some point. I think a lot of Texans would like that. But also restructuring public education and funding for public education, talking about Hurricane Harvey relief, talking about foster care in Texas, talking about a lot of really, really tough issues, and you have 140 days to tackle those issues, and really you don't even have that much time because the House of Representatives, the Texas House, they don't take up issues right away. The Texas Senate will get to issues faster than the Texas House does. So you really don't even have 140 days to really debate these very, very big issues. It's something that Scott Braddock of Quorum Report, he appears on my show throughout the legislative session. He talked about that this is going to be a very tough session for lawmakers. They're going to have to be focused in this session. And really, when it comes down to it, Dennis Bonnen is actually a very good person to have that laser focus. I've had Dennis Bonnen on my show, now Speaker Bonnen, on my show a couple of times before, and what he always comes across as is someone who is prudent and someone who is a bulldog, really wants to get to work and doesn't want to be distracted by all these other side issues. And I think you're going to see that a lot from Speaker Bonnen moving forward in the Texas House, which is good because they have some big issues that they need to get to, and a lot of big personalities and a lot of big egos down in Austin that are going to be clashing. Now, you don't only have the egos from the members in Washington and Austin, but also the governor and lieutenant governor. They want to have their say in how things are going as well. So it's going to be a very interesting legislative session, I think, for those three to try to figure each other out, fill each other out, and then also to really, really get started on these issues. Matt Makoviak, who I had on my show on Tuesday, and he's on my show Tuesdays at 9:35. Makoviak isn't quite sure that lawmakers can actually get to everything in one session. So we're already talking about a special session possibly when dealing with the big issues of the day. Do I expect some side issues to pop up, some social issues to pop up? Absolutely, it does in every single session, but I don't anticipate anything like a bathroom bill, something that is really, really distracting to pop up in this session. I think lawmakers are going into this laser focused. They could be distracted at some point, but they're going in focused, and even the governor has weighed in and said that he's going to be focused on these issues as well. Some of the questions that I do have moving forward, how much will local control issues be talked about in the legislative session, and also border security. Listen, the President of the United States is going to have something to say about border security moving forward, obviously. How much will that impact this legislative session down in Austin? And let's also not forget about the Texas Tech Vet School and several other issues that will be taking a back seat to the main issues of the day. Remember, you can watch or tune into the Chad Hasty Show weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk KFYO. You can listen on your KFYO app and KFYO.com. Scott Braddock joins me every single Monday at 10:05, or, usually sometimes we may shift that around depending on breaking news. But around 10:05, Scott Braddock will join the show of Quorum Report to talk about what's going on in the legislative session. We'll also have folks on like Patrick Svitek of the Texas Tribune on Fridays, Matt Makoviak on Tuesdays, and other guests throughout the session to tell you what's really going on down in Austin, what's happening behind the scenes, and what you need to be concerned with during the 86th Texas legislative session. And I'll be broadcasting from the state capitol. I always look forward to doing that, and we'll be back on the road in February doing the show for a few days down at the state capitol, and I'm sure we'll be back again during the legislative session. Tune in to the Chad Hasty Show weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.